everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. This video is going to be not daily clips like I had been doing. It's just going to be a 1-week update all filmed at the same time. It's currently Thursday and the last time that I filmed was I think Friday. I could not film tomorrow because my kids don't have school tomorrow, which is going to be very weird in the summer. I'm gonna have to figure out filming with my kids home, but luckily they still have another month of school. We do not get out for summer here until I think it's June 18th, so there's still a month of school. Anyways, cross-stitching. I worked on, I think, 5 projects. 2 of them are new starts. One of them was a surprise new start for me as much as it is for you. I didn't even own the chart until Saturday. I started it the same day that I bought it. I was just like, I need this now. So I will start with my progress on Autumn Harmony because I stitch on her mostly every day. I did not stitch it all Friday, which it's been a thing. Like the last few Fridays, I don't think that I've stitched at all. So I need to just start like marking Fridays off as just like a no stitching day and then just plan for the fact that I most likely won't have things done Fridays. So on Autumn Harmony, I ended up working on I think 3 sections. So 2 of them were sections that I had already told you that I might be working on, and then the other one was like, oh, I have already done all those stitches, so I have to move the Q-snap again. So I am trying to stitch her right now, Extreme Cross Country by color. Every month I kind of change my mind on the way that I'm stitching on her. So like last month I was working on the top row, filling in just all the colors. I got tired of doing that, so I decided to do Extreme Cross Country by color. And then next month I might want to fill in a different section and not do Extreme Cross Country. I don't know. I'm just doing whatever I want to because I will be working on her until she's finished, hopefully next year. So the first area I worked on her was down in the bottom. I'm going to try and leave room for the before picture. And I finished all of the DMC 154 in that section, and so I was able to move on to the next section. So this area, all the 154 is done, and so I moved on up to the top, which I had mentioned in my previous video is where I would be going next if I finished the other section. So I finished the 154 in this section too. It did not take very long because there was not a ton of it. There was like some up here and then some in this area, and that was really it. And then all the other 154 is going to be on the right section, which is where I moved my Q-snap to now. And so now I'm currently filling in this area here. I kind of would like to get this area filled in next month. I'm kind of thinking that's what I might do, is focus on this area or this area on the top of her head, because I would really like one of these areas filled in so I can get an idea of what it's going to look like once an area is complete by her face, because I don't have a lot around her face done, so it looks kind of weird sometimes when I'm taking like my picture of her out of the Q-snap. Like, it's like her face fully done, and then everything else around her is just kind of like blobs of nothing. So yeah, I kind of would like to get an area fully filled in. She is being stitched on 18 count 2 over 1 full cross. And I don't know if I mentioned, but this chart is Maxine Gad artwork, charted by Maxine Gad, and I love her so much. So that's Autumn Harmony. And then I had my first new start, which my first new start is the one that you guys knew about, which it was a WIPGO number. So WIPGO 13 for me was a new start. I decided that I was going to start Strawberry Farm, which is a chart by Flossie Fox Shop. Right now this chart is only on their Patreon, but in a couple months it will be on their Etsy shop. So this is all I got done. For WIPGO, I'm trying to do 1,000 stitches on every WIPGO piece, and I think I only did like 400 or 500 stitches on this because I ended up having another new start the same day. So, oops, my bad. But I figured it was 2 new starts, but they're both small, so it's fine because I almost started a really big piece for WIPGO. I was really tempted to start like Dragon Race Into the Night or something, which is like 500,000 stitches, but I didn't. And this is only like 3,000 stitches maybe. It's between 3 to 5. One of the charts I was looking at was 3,000. One of them was 5,000. I don't remember which this is, but it's small. And my other piece I started is small. So I'm still under Dragon Race Into the Night stitches. So I'm fine. This is being stitched on DMC printed Aida, so the back of it is white, and then the front of it is the colorful fabric. And I ended up starting in the middle with the house because I really wanted to get the house done because I loved this little like cottagey looking house. And I stitched all the brown because I figured it'd be easy to stitch the brown and then fill in everything else later and not really have to count as much. But it did mean that this area kind of took a little bit longer because I was trying to count out like longer rows and make sure that everything was going to line up properly. And so that's all I got done on this. I will have to work on it the fourth weekend in March. I will have to work on it the fourth weekend in May because I didn't meet my goal on it yet. And so hopefully I will be able to meet my goal that last weekend in May. And then my other new start. So the other new start that I had, I need to kind of explain a little the backstory. So I think it was Friday night. I saw that there was a chance that we would be able to see the Northern Lights here where I live. I live in Washington State, up by the Canadian border. So I saw that there was a chance, but they have said it before and it's never happened. So I was like, there's a chance, but we also just might not see it. And I started seeing other people on social media who were posting pictures that they were able to see it. Like I saw someone who was in like the UK saw it. I saw that there was someone in Colorado who saw it. And I was just like, oh my God, people are actually seeing the Northern Lights. There's a chance. And so I sat outside, I dragged my kids outside and I was like, there's a chance. We have to see if it happens. And at first there was nothing until it was like, I think it was like 10 o'clock-ish when I finally started to see color when I was taking pictures, because you can see the colors better when you take a picture using your phone with night mode turned on. And so I kept just taking pictures and like slowly I could see like this section that was turning like green, and so I was getting super excited. And then eventually it got to a point where I think it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock, where you could actually see it without the camera. And so it wasn't super bright, but you could see it. And I was just so excited though, because I never thought that I would be able to see the Northern Lights from my home. And so I figured that seeing the Northern Lights was something that I wouldn't really have happen. And so I was really excited that I saw it and that my kids saw it. They thought that it was cool and they were just excited that they got to stay up late because we were out looking at it until like midnight. And so yeah, they were just excited that they got to see it. And so I ended up thinking like I should start a cross-stitch chart of the Northern Lights. And so then I went looking on different places. I started looking first on like full coverage websites. So I did a search on Artisy and on Charting Creations for Northern Lights, and there was a couple of charts that came up, but they were all more like winter ones because normally the Northern Lights happen in places where it's higher north and it's colder when it happens, like it's in the winter. And so that's what I was seeing, is a lot of like winter Northern Lights charts, which is not what I wanted. I wanted something that kind of matched with what I saw, and I also wanted the colors to be similar to the colors that I saw, because sometimes the colors are more like greens and blues, and it ended up being a lot of like purples and greens here. So I wanted the colors to match, and so I went onto Etsy and I did a search on Etsy for Northern Lights, and I found this one chart that was perfect. And I say it's perfect because there was a picture I took where we had kind of walked a little ways out of like the town that I live in, and there was trees and the sky, and so there's like the top of the trees in the picture, and then there's like the sky with like the purples and greens, and I'll insert the picture. So the artwork is here, and then the picture I took here, and that was kind of why I picked it, was because it was like, it looked pretty similar to what I saw. And I figured that yes, I could chart one of the photos I took, but I didn't want to do like a big full coverage project. I would like this to be something that I could actually finish in my lifetime and have hanging up to be like, remember that time that we saw the Northern Lights. So here is my start on this chart. The chart is Northern Lights from Climbing Goats Designs. I think that was the name of their Etsy shop. And I didn't do a ton. I only worked on it for 2 days, and so I think I only have done like 300 stitches. And I ended up just picking a random fabric that I had. I considered stitching it on a colorful fabric, but I really just wanted to use a gridded fabric because it's easier to count, and I like gridded fabric now. I'm like obsessed with gridded fabric. I really wish that they could have gridded fabric that was colorful, but I get that you don't usually want to wash dyed fabric, so it wouldn't really work out, but it would be really cool if you could get like a gridded colorful fabric. But anyways, this is my start. I love the colors that are going to be in this a lot. It's going to be very fun to stitch, and it's just a little reminder of that time that I got to see the Northern Lights and my kids got to see it, and yeah, it was just exciting. I did not think it would happen here, and it was very, very fun. So then that takes me to Monday because I did not stitch at all Sunday. Sunday was Mother's Day, and I made my kids play Overcooked with me, which if you don't know, Overcooked is a game where you're like cooking. So there's orders that show up on the top of the screen, and then you have to make the orders. So like you start off and it's like easy things, like you're just making sushi, you're just chopping the fish, make some rice, throw some nori on it, and easy. It's not easy because you have 4 people running around the kitchen and they're doing things and they're not telling people what they're doing, so you would end up with like a whole bunch of rice cooked, and then there would be no fish chopped, and so it'd be like, where's the fish? No one did fish. And then there would be dirty plates that needed to be washed. No one would be washing the dirty plates. There'd be no plates anywhere. People would put rice on to cook, and then they wouldn't be where the rice was, and then the rice would start burning and it will catch on fire, and you have to get a fire extinguisher to put it out, and it's chaos. And at one point my daughter kind of like had given up, and so she had like just put the controller down and she was just eating a snack. So we're running around her character on the screen, and then my one son, my middle child, gave up and he was just throwing steaks on the floor because at one point I was like, there's no steaks, and so he just started throwing steaks on the floor, and I was like, that's not helpful. And then my oldest was mostly what he was doing was dishes, is he would just run around and grab the dishes. And so yeah, I like how I'm being the character in the game. The game is like little, just like cartoon looking characters. It's very cute. It's very fun. It's also slightly stressful though, because you're like, oh my god, that order's about to go away. We need to make this order right now. And then no one's making the order. Anyways, so that takes me to Monday. Monday, I ended up going back to working on Kita because I hadn't met my goal for Kita yet. I think I needed to do another 700 stitches to meet the goal, and I did it. So here she is now. I decided I was going to try working down this section of her dress and try and get this section to the bottom. And then once I reach the bottom here, then I'll go back up to the center, doing that until I get all these little sections finished. So all I did was more blue. It was a ton of blue. And like this section here was like, I think all one color. And it was so boring. But I did it, and I am happy that it's done, but I also am not looking forward to having to do it over here. So she is being stitched on a fabric 2/2 full cross, and it's a fabric I dyed myself, and now the goal's met, so I can move on from her. I almost considered continuing stitching on her because the day that I worked on her, I got like 800 stitches done, and I was like, oh man, I'm enjoying working on her. I should just keep going. But then I was also like, if I do that, I could get burned out and then not want to pull her out for like another couple months, and I didn't want to do that. So I stuck with my goals and I switched projects, and that meant that Little Gamer was the next project. So Little Gamer is charted by Gecko Rouge, and the artwork is by Medusa Dollmaker. Here is where I am on this chart. I need to do 2,500 stitches this month to meet my goal, and so far I think I did 1,500 stitches, and it might be hard to see where I worked because I did some stitches up here in this light blue color for this star, and then I did not like working on that color because I was like, this light color sucks. It blends into the fabric and I can't see it, and so I was like, I don't want to keep going with that color. And so then I started working on a dark brown that is used in the outlines here, and so I did a lot of dark brown in the outlines. And then I got tired of doing that because they started to get more scattered as you got into this area. So then I started working on the hedgehog. So I was really just kind of working everywhere this time. And I think I'm going to keep working on the hedgehog until I meet my goal, which I need to do another 1,000 stitches, and then I can put this one away. This is being stitched on a 25 count 2/1 10 stitch. And I'm excited to meet the goal on this because I think after this I might get to work on Cozy Winter Book Nook next. I think. I need to check my list later and see. But even if it's not next on the list, I might just work on it anyways because I want to work on that chart. And so that is everything that I worked on the last week. And coming up, I will be working on Little Gamer to do another 1,000 stitches. And then this weekend, I will be working on another WIPGO piece. The piece that I will be working on is called Fables. It is by Medusa Dollmaker. I really love Medusa Dollmaker artwork. And this one is, it's another Gecko Rouge kit because I got a few of her kits from Gecko Rouge before they were retired. You can now find her artwork on her own website though, so you can buy just the chart, which is very nice. And I have not done very much on this chart though, so it's not very much. This is all I have done so far on this. I started in the middle of the top row because I figured that would be the easiest way to work this one, because you can't really start from like the left corner because it doesn't have straight edges. So like the left corner would be like here somewhere. So I couldn't really start from the top left corner. And I also didn't want to start in the center because there was a ton of confetti in this area. This chart does not have that many colors, but it has a ton of confetti, so hold on. This chart has a total of 30 colors, and they're all like shades of blue. It's just tons of blue, and it's tons of confetti, so it's kind of crazy the amount of confetti that can happen with only having 30 colors. But there's color changes everywhere. And then there's like this light color that goes all around the edge, which is kind of hard to see. And so that's kind of not fun to stitch, but it has to be done. So I think it's 25 count 2/1 tent stitch. I do really like 25 count because in areas where you're changing colors a lot, it doesn't get as bulky as 28 count can sometimes get. So that's really nice. And yeah, I'm just really excited to work on this because I haven't done a ton on it. And I just like all the colors. I like blues. I like blues and I like purples a lot. So I'm excited to get to work on this. And I need to do 1,000 stitches to meet my goal, hopefully. If I don't meet the goal, this will also be worked on the 4th weekend in May, along with Strawberry Farm. But yeah, so that is all my plans for cross stitching. There's a chart that I kind of want to buy from Unconventional Cross Stitch. They are still coming out with a bunch of charts from new artists that they signed recently. And recently they came out with a chart from, I think, Ed Beard Jr. And it's a wizard and a dragon. I don't remember the name of the chart, but I'll insert the artwork here. And it's really fun, and it's different from what I already have, because that's what I kind of look at now when I'm looking at charts, is I look at, do I have something similar? Because if I have something similar, then do I really need to buy it? But this is different. I do not have anything with a wizard and a dragon, so do I need it? Possibly. Plus, I still don't have an Unconventional Cross Stitch chart yet, and I would really like to have a chart from kind of like all the companies, but I've also been waiting for their Ivy Dollamore artwork to come out. So I know that they signed her in, I think, April, and so I've just been waiting because the way that they do their releases is right now they're kind of focusing on like one artist for a week, I think. And then, so I'm just kind of waiting until they get to Ivy Dollamore to see what artwork they come out for her. That is all that I have for this video, so I will see you all hopefully next week with progress on these 2 charts, and hopefully I will have met my goal on these 2, and I'll be able to move on to my next project on the list. And thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I hope you all have a good week. Bye!